everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable fairy capybara. It works up super quick because of the chunky yarn, and it is definitely good practice for beginners to do every single stitch. So you're going to be doing the single crochet, half double crochet, and treble crochet, and this is just such a cute plushie to make. So let's just get into the tutorial. So for this project you're going to need 2 colours of chunky blanket yarn, 100 grams with your main colour and 50 grams with your secondary colour, some brown double knit yarn, a 7mm hook, some scissors, a stitch marker, and you're also going to need some polyester stuffing and a sewing needle with an eye big enough for your yarn to fit through. Okay, so I'm going to start off by making the ears. You're going to want to make 2 of these, and you want to start off by making a slip knot and chaining 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then you want to make a slip stitch into that 3rd chain, and this is going to create a ring that we're going to crochet into. You're going to split apart that ring, and in the center of that ring you're going to make 5 single crochets. Notice that I'm crocheting over the tail so that I can make a drawstring. This is important, so you want the tail to be sitting on top of the hook as well, as if you're crocheting into the tail as well. So you want to make your 5 single crochets and making sure that you're crocheting over that tail. This is going to draw in the hole in the center. So just pull on that tail to draw everything in, and then once you have your 5 single crochets you're going to count back from the one that you've just done, and on that first single crochet that you made you want to make a slip stitch, and this is going to create a curl for the ear. And now you just want to fasten off and leave a long tail for sewing. Okay, so now we're going to be making the feet. You're going to make 4 of these, and you want to start off the same way, making a slip knot and then chaining 3 and then slip stitching into the 3rd chain. Then again you want to pull apart the center so that you can find that hole, and you want to make 7 single crochets into the ring, again crocheting over the tail so that you can make a drawstring. Then just pull on the tail, and then the next round we are going to just make 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I don't place a stitch marker here because all I've got to do is just do another 7 single crochets, so I just couldn't be bothered to place a stitch marker for 1 more round. So yeah, 1 single crochet into each stitch, or 7 single crochets in total. And then final step, you just want to insert your hook into the first stitch of the round and make your slip stitch, and then you just want to fasten off. So now we're going to be making the nose, so this is round 1, and you want to start off by making a slip knot and then chaining 5. And then once you have your chain of 5, you want to flip the chains over so that you are now working on the back of the chain where there are back bumps, and you want to find that second back bump, so the bump behind the second chain, and make 1 single crochet into that back bump, and then find the next back bump and make a single crochet into that, and then do the same into the next back bump, 1 single crochet, and then finally in that last back bump make a single crochet. And you should have 4 stitches in the row. And then you want to make 1 more single crochet into that final stitch of the row, so you want to have 5. And now you want to tilt your work to the opposite side, and we're going to be working 3 single crochets to finish the round, so make 1 single crochet into the next stitch on the opposite side, one single crochet into the next stitch, and then last one, 1 single crochet into the next stitch. So now you should have 8 single crochets in total, and sort of like this oval shape, and you want to place your stitch marker here. Now for round 2, this is nice and simple. We are just going to be making 2 single crochets into each stitch, which is going to double the amount of stitches we have in the round, so it will bring your stitches up to 16. Into the first stitch and then another one. So as you can see, I'm just doing 2 single crochets into every single stitch all the way around. For round 3, I'm going to do a sequence of 3 single crochets and then an increase into the 4th stitch. So that's just 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches, and then into the 4th stitch you want to do 2 single crochets, also known as an increase. So every time we do 2 single crochets in one stitch, we increase a stitch in the round by 1. So the sequence is always going to be, for this round, 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches and then 2 single crochets into the 4th stitch, and I'm just going to repeat that all the way around, and then by the end of the round you should have 20 stitches. So we're now going to be starting the actual main body part. So you're going to take your pink yarn now, because this is what we're going to be working with for the rest of the body, and we're going to basically just insert the hook into the same cream stitch as when we finished that second single crochet, and then you want to take your pink yarn and then just pull it through that chain. And then we're going to just start the next round as normal, and then we're going to tighten the white stitch later on. So for round 4, I'm going to do 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. So I've just done the first one, and then I tightened the cream yarn at the back there. And now I'm just going to do my 4 single crochets, and then into the 5th stitch I'm going to do my increase, so that is going to be 2 single crochets, and that is the sequence all the way around. So 4 single crochets and then 2 single crochets into the 5th stitch, and you want to repeat that all the way around, and by the end of the round you're going to have 24 stitches. So now you just want to pull on that white tail, and you can just cut the yarn now because we don't need that white tail anymore. And we're now going to be just working with the pink. So for the next round, this is round 5, we are going to just be doing 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So that is also going to be 24 single crochets, and we're going to do that for 4 rounds in total. And you're going to do it until round 8. So for round 9, we're going to be doing a sequence of 1 single crochet and then an increase into the next stitch 6 times. So you just want to do 1 single crochet and then an increase into the second stitch, 1 single crochet again, and then an increase into the second stitch, and you want to repeat that 6 times. And then for the rest of the round you just want to do 1 single crochet into each stitch, and this is going to bring your stitches up to 30. And then once you reach the end of the round, we're going to be doing 9 rounds of single crochet. So that is going to be from round 10 to round 18, so I will meet you back for round 19. So after your 9 rounds of single crochet, we are now going to go on to the next round, and you should notice that the top of your capybara is very flat and the bottom is kind of more outward, kind of rounded like a belly. And now for our next round we're going to decrease, so we're going to start off with 3 single crochets, and then into the 4th and 5th stitch we're going to be grabbing those front loops, inserting the hook and then yarning over and pulling through both of those front loops, so that we have 3 on the hook, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And that is the sequence for this round, so just do 3 single crochets. And then a decrease stitch, so we're going to insert the hook into the front loop of the next stitch and the front loop of the next stitch. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops to decrease them together, and you're just going to repeat that all the way around, and by the end of the round you should just have 24 stitches. And then for round 20, very similar, we're going to be doing another decrease round. We're going to start off with 2 single crochets this time and then a decrease. So just 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches and then make your decrease stitch, just grabbing those front loops and joining them together. So 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches and then the front loop of the 4th and 5th stitch and crocheting those together. You want to repeat that all the way around, and by the end of the round you will have 18 stitches. Now at this point you just want to stuff the entire body, and you want to continue stuffing even after we do our final round. So you basically just want to stuff pretty much to the top of the body, and then for the final round, this is round 21, we're going to do 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then a decrease into the next stitch, and you want to repeat that all the way around. So just 1 single crochet and then a decrease and so on. And by the end of the round you should have 12 stitches. So after your final decrease stitch, you want to grab the rest of the yarn and you want to cut a long tail, and we're basically going to be winding the tail around each stitch to create a drawstring. So you just want to pull out the rest of the yarn, and then you want to insert your needle into the next stitch as if you're going to crochet, and you just want to yarn over and pull through, and that's literally it. Then go into the next stitch with your hook and then grab the tail and yarn over and pull through. And you just want to repeat that all the way around the work. So again, inserting your hook into the next stitch and then yarn over and pull through. And you want to do that 12 times so that each stitch has got some of the tail wrapped around it, and then that way you are able to close the round completely. So I'm now going to be sewing the ears, and I'm basically just going to take my ear and then place it on the sewing needle, and then I'm just marking kind of where I want to place it. And I don't really have a method for sewing, to be honest. I just literally wind the yarn into the work over and over again until it's nice and seamed in, and then I repeat that for the second ear. So then I'm just placing the needle down to another part of the body and I'm letting the tail hang there, and then I'm going to sew the second ear on. And when I have finished sewing the second ear, I like to make sure that I place the tail in the exact same spot as the other ear, so that I can then just tie a double knot in this section, and then I just weave those tails in. And then I pretty much do that as well for the feet as well. So I sew 2 feet on pretty much like at the same time, and then leave those tails in the exact same area and tie a double knot to secure them, and then do the same thing for the back feet. So now I'm going to sew the face. So I basically just cut 2 strings of the dark brown yarn because I wanted it to be quite bold, and I basically just placed 2 lines either side of the ears just so that it kind of looks like the capybara is like asleep or blinking. And yeah, I basically just do like 2 short lines, and just like I did with the feet, I ended the string on the same bit where I started so that I had 2 strings that I could tie together and weave in. That's just what I kind of like to do to keep everything secure. And then for the nose, I didn't really have much plan for this. I did sort of the similar method to the eyes. I just made 2 small nostrils, and then after I did the nostrils, I basically just made like a vertical long line going down the nose, and then 2 short diagonal lines going outwards from the bottom to create kind of like a mouth shape. And then I just brought the yarn back up to where I originally started and made that double knot, and then I was able to weave those ends in. So we're now going to be starting the fairy wings, and I'm going to start off by making a magic ring. So take your yarn and wrap it around your 2 fingers and cross it over to the back, placing the working yarn on your pinky finger. So you've got a cross at the front, and then you've got a short line, and then your working yarn at the back. And with your hook, you want to insert your hook underneath that short line and grab your working yarn, and then twist your hook to create this sort of shape. And then you want to chain 1 with the working yarn. So it sounds difficult, but you literally only have to do it once, and then you don't have to do it again after that. So once you've got it, it's very worth it because we create a nice drawstring. We're going to start off with the small fairy wing, so you want to start off by chaining 6 because the first chain 1 we done already counts as 1. So in total you're going to have 7 chains. And then into your second chain, you're going to create a slip stitch. and then into the following chain a single crochet, into the following chain a half double crochet, into the next chain a double crochet, into the next chain a half double crochet, and then into the next chain a half double crochet. And then you want to finish the wing by actually inserting your hook into the ring and making a single crochet. So now I'm going to do the large wing, and I'm going to chain 8 for this. And into the second chain I'm going to do a slip stitch, into the next chain I'm going to do a half double crochet, into the next chain I'm going to do a double crochet, into the next chain I'm going to do another double crochet, into the next chain I'm going to do a treble crochet, into the next chain I'm going to do a double crochet, into the next chain I'm going to do a double crochet, and then I'm going to do a single crochet into the ring to complete the large wing. And now I'm basically just going to repeat what I've done for the large wing again, so chaining 8, and then repeating the pattern, so slip stitch into the second chain, half double crochet into the next chain, double crochet into the next chain, double crochet into the next chain, treble crochet into the next chain, double crochet into the next chain, double crochet into the next chain, and then finally I'm going to do a single crochet into the ring. And then I'm going to repeat the small wing one more time, so I'm going to do a chain of 7, and then into the second chain from the hook I'm going to do a slip stitch, and then I'm going to do into the next chain a single crochet, into the next chain I'm going to do a half double crochet, and then in the next chain a double crochet, into the next chain a half double crochet, into the next chain a half double crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet into the ring. Then after that you just want to chain one and fasten off, and now we are going to create a border around the edge of the wings. So now we're going to do the border, so you want to take your white yarn and make a slip knot, and you want to attach it at the small wing. So you want to insert your hook into the back loop of that stitch on the small wing, it doesn't really matter which one. And then just pull the slip knot through and chain one, and this is going to count as like a single crochet in the back loop. So we're basically just going to be doing one single crochet into the back loop of each stitch. And then once you reach kind of the middle point, you just want to make a slip stitch there to create a bit of shape. So you actually want to push your hook through kind of the middle part of the wings, and then carry on making your single crochets into the back loop of each stitch. And we are going to do something different once we get to the very top of that large wing. So at the top of the wing you want to do a single crochet as normal in the back loop, but then you want to chain one and make a second single crochet, and then continue as normal doing your single crochets in the back loop all the way down, and then that's where you will reach the other kind of middle section where you want to make that slip stitch into the middle of the wings to create that shape. So as you can see, I'm now at the stage where I'm going to make that slip stitch in the center of the wings to create that shape. And then once you've done that, you can just carry on, and you will now be working on the next large wing. So you're just going to make one single crochet into the back loop of each stitch. And then when you reach the top of the large wing, you want to do a single crochet, chain one, single crochet in the back loop at the top of the wing. Now I'm going to continue crocheting down, and then I'm going to make my slip stitch again in that center point of the fairy wing to create that shape of the second large wing. And then I'm going to start making the border on the small wing. So I'm going to again work in the back loop, making one single crochet into each stitch. And once I reach the tip of the small fairy wing, I'm actually going to do a slip stitch, chain one and slip stitch instead of the single crochet. So as you can see, slip stitch, chain one and slip stitch. Again, once you reach the center, you're going to want to make that slip stitch to create the shape on the small wing. And then you can complete your final small fairy wing, making one single crochet into the back loop of each stitch. And again, once you reach the tip of that wing, you want to do a slip stitch, chain one and slip stitch. And then once you get back to the chain 1 that you made, you just want to make a slip stitch into that chain 1. And then this is the final result of the fairy capybara. I just think this is so adorable and so cute, and I can't wait to put this on my bed. I hope you guys all enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful, and if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to make next, feel free to leave them in the comments below, but I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys!